Welcome to episode 5 of our Antarctica and Falklands vlog series. Please subscribe to our channel and select the bell to receive notifications of our new content. Thank you. It was exciting to now be just a few hours away from the Antarctic continent. It's not that cold up here. Probably only about 40 degrees Fahrenheit, of course. And our continent is out there somewhere. Officially very cool, and it's the very first night we're anywhere inside the land, so yeah, it's a good start. Before sailing the beautiful Lemaire Channel, we attended the evening briefing, then went for dinner.
We're going through Dolman Bay right now, and this is going to lead us into the Gerlache Strait, and this entire area is good for whale watching, so there will be more whales this evening, quite likely. So I'm going to tell you what we are planning on doing tonight and then tomorrow. So Dolman Bay is right here. We're sailing past the Melchior Islands, Ambers and Brabant on both sides. So on our port side we have Brabant Island, and on the starboard side we have Ambers Island. So once we come out of Dolman Bay, we come into the Gerlache Strait and we start heading south. As I said, this area is also very good for whale watching, so it's going to be scenic all night long. And about 9:30 we're going to be coming into this area here. And this area is one of the most scenic places in the peninsula. It's called the Lemaire Channel. In the Argentine Islands we have a couple of interesting places. We have one is Ukrainian Research station called Vernadsky. Vernadsky used to be a British station before called Faraday, and it is the place where the ozone hole was actually discovered. So we're gonna sail by, we're not visiting any stations, and then we're gonna continue on, and we're gonna have possibly, if the ice allows, we're gonna sail by a very small historical site called Wardy House. Beautiful glacial scenery. So this is where Vernadsky is. The ship is going to be, it's going to be out here in the channel. So we're going to come through these channels, and we're going to be kind of crisscrossing and going all around these narrow channels. And then at 9 a.m. for Orange Blue Angria. Exciting, isn't it? Carpe diem, carpe diem. This is going to be our first encounter with the Adelis, and it is also home to one of the southernmost gentoo penguin colonies. Good mosses and lichens. We're going to see how much snow there is on the ground. If we think that it's good to go and we can land, that's great. If not, we'll look at Antarctic plans, but we think it should be okay. At 5:45, it's going to be the last Zodiac. We're going to get you back on board at 6:45, ladies and gentlemen.
During the evenings, Seabourn's buffet transforms into a sit-down service.
Next, a beautiful sail into the Lemaire Channel. As we entered the Lemaire Channel, the wind across the deck was getting pretty intense. So, yeah, it's cold. This is great. This is the Lemaire Channel. Vacuum is causing them to wait. Makes a lot of sense. Let's see how long she lasts out there. Lasted about 4 minutes. And?
That long?
And?
Yeah, it was like little bees hitting your face. Like ice pellets. Oh my god. Yeah, it's pretty windy.
Yeah, it's day one.
Yeah.
The people who never came outside missed the wind, but they also missed the experience. I can't adequately express just how beautiful sailing the Lemaire Channel is. Next, we explore Galindez Island. The next morning, we set out on the first of 2 excursions. Our excursion this morning was a Zodiac tour around a former British research station, and now one belonging to Ukraine. We also learned a great deal about ice.
Bridge, this is Delta.
Delta Bridge.
Yes, departing with 15 souls.
Delta, departing with 15,
1-5, thank you. So good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm Brent. We also have Victoria here.
Hello, everyone.
On the stern. Victoria. And if there's something that I'm going to tell the whole group, I'll do just this. I'll stop, turn off the engine, and make sure everyone hears what I'm going to say, okay?
Okay.
We're going to take a little bit of a ride at the beginning just to get back into the shelter and back at the station where we want to go. So just you can lean forward a little bit if you want. You can hold the ropes behind you.
Along the way to the research station, we stopped at a penguin rookery.
What's up, fellas? Oh, a little one up there.
the research station you're about to see played an extremely important part in history.
And when they first made the measurements, they thought that something was wrong with their equipment. So they checked with other places in Antarctica who confirmed that this was indeed the readings they were getting, and they began to understand the enormity of the problem. This base has actually been here in this exact position since the 1960s. There was a previous base before that, and we might have a glimpse of that. The extremely interesting thing about this base is it now does a lot of different science, but it used to do meteorology, so it has a continuous weather pattern record right back to the 1940s when it first opened in another site.
Next, we continue our exploration of Galindez Island. Enjoy the ride for a study of sea ice.
So this is a good spot to talk about the differences between sea ice and glacial ice. Sea ice is right ahead of us, frozen ocean. Yep. And to our left, 9 o'clock, that's all icebergs, little bitty icebergs. And that is from glaciers. Glaciers are from snowfall. Snowfall that's compacted down. So glaciers and snowfields are caused by snow that does not melt at the end of the season, and that accumulation starts to get layers on top of each other, and it starts to push down, force of gravity, and it squeezes out the air bubbles. Snow has a lot of air in it, but as it drifts down, or is pushed down by more snow on the top, it starts to squeeze, and becomes a solid, like these bits of bergs that are grounded in here. So these little icebergs here are small enough to come in by wind and tide on a high tide, and then get basically grounded. So anything that's not flat, like a pancake, and mushy, rotten, kind of deteriorating, that's sea ice. If it's a big, hard, round, rock, white thing, that's fresh water from snowfall. So all of these different colors in the snowfield straight ahead, the browns, the yellows, greens, reds, those are all snow algae, a plant material that grows on the surface and in the cracks in the snow. And it usually grows around penguin colonies because the particulate dried nitrates get in the air, provide fertilizer.
One more. Get in there.
I see the one.
Oh. Oh, okay, there you go. Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah.
3 o'clock, guys. Hi.
Are those the Commerson dolphins? That's your Gentoo penguins. Way off.
Really, really tiny dolphins.
The early scientists depended on dog sleds and driving dogs across sea ice to travel around these regions. So they deliberately picked somewhere where they knew the sea ice would linger long. And they arrived in 1947. Now, most people who built bases in the Antarctic arrived in the mid or late 1950s when interest became universal and there was a special international geophysical year which created a big interest in polar regions. But back in the 1940s there weren't that many bases and Britain was one of the countries that came down. And Wordie House, they were very proud of it, but it was actually very basic and very isolated, no other bases around here. And there were a group of young men, usually young men, keen and enthusiastic, interested in science. And they had a bunk room and they had a living area. And after about 4 years, they added a generator shed and a toilet. You do wonder, don't you? And they wrote wonderful diaries, which we have now. We keep them as part of a museum. They wrote a lot about the dogs and about each other. And we have comments like, Brian and John are in the bunk room being pseudo-scientific. This is in the official diary, which is lovely. And the dogs are bloody hard to work. Making them pull together is almost impossible. So it just gives a taste of what it must have been like back in the 1940s, complete isolation. You were in less communication than if you go to space now, because you were really cut off from the rest of the world.
And that was just the morning excursion. It was time for a light lunch in Seabourn Square. Next, our afternoon tour to Yalour Island, preceded by an awesome whales encounter. Our exploration of Yalour Island would include penguin rookeries perched atop rocks in interestingly very spread out colonies. It's going to be our landing spot. So this is a rocky landing.
And then It's legit.
Ja, dat is zo blijkbaar door mensen uitgesneden.
Ja, this is all lava.
Yes, so
Zo verschrikkelijk naar beneden. Hello everyone!
You have here until about 4:45. Quarter to 5 will be the last Zodiac. That gives you ample time to enjoy the place. It's not that big an area. So, as you can see, the terrain here is a little tricky, so we're here to help you.
This is the Yalour Island. And, at the end of the voyage, there'll be a voyage tracker.
Yalour Island was a bit like being on the moon, if the moon were covered in snow. The last 2 days have been amazing, and we still have 8 more days down here to enjoy. We hope you've enjoyed this video. Please consider subscribing to our channel and clicking the thumbs up button. Thank you. In our next episode, we cruise Detaille Island and then arrive at Blind Bay, where Seabourn Venture broke through pack ice and we got to walk ashore. Thank you for watching.